In this video, we'll take a look at the 5th grade standard for numbers and operations with fractions, number 2. This standard asks that students use word problems to make sense of addition and subtraction with fractions with unlike denominators. Students should also be able to use their understanding of benchmark fractions to estimate the reasonableness of their answer. For this particular video, we used a problem taken from Illustrative Mathematics. In this problem, students are making some s'mores for a campfire treat. Nick likes to use 1/2 of a chocolate bar, and Tasha likes to use 6/8 of a chocolate bar. And the question that students will be tackling is, what fraction of a chocolate bar will Nick and Tasha use in total if they each ate one s'more? Well, let's take a look and see how this student tackled this problem.
So Nick wants to use 1/2 of a chocolate bar in his s'more. Tasha wants to use 6/8 of a chocolate bar in her s'more.
Okay, hang on there. Let me ask you a question. What do you think just by looking at those two? Do you think they're going to use less than a whole chocolate bar, the same as a whole chocolate bar, or more than a whole chocolate bar between them? What's your thoughts there?
More than a whole chocolate bar.
More. You said that pretty quick. Why do you say that?
Because both of them are at least 1/2.
So both of them are at least 1/2?
Yes.
And what do you know if you have two halves?
Then it makes a whole.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so 1/2 is equal to 2/4, and 6/8 is equal to 3/4. Then you would have to add 2/4 and 3/4.
Can I ask you a question? I noticed that you didn't go ahead and just find eighths.
Yes, because you don't need to.
Why don't you need to?
Because you can just make that one just a little less. Or divide it by 2.
So let me ask you this. You didn't make it a little less. What did you actually do to these pieces?
Well, I made the denominator and the numerator just smaller numbers, but the same amount.
Oh, okay. All right, yeah, go ahead.
And then you would get 5/4 or 1 and 1/4.
When we sit back and we listen to student thinking, it becomes really easy to formatively assess what a student knows and what they don't know. So let's formatively assess what this student was able to do. Well, if they began by estimating sums using benchmark fractions, they immediately went ahead and knew that their chocolate bar was going to be greater than a whole. And they did this by taking 1/2 of 6/8 and combining it with the 1/2 that Nick had. And they knew that they had at least one whole chocolate bar. Now, although this student used fourths, we typically tell students to multiply the two denominators to find a common denominator. The student's ability to find fourths in this case really proves that she has conceptual understanding. So this student didn't go ahead and use a drawing to represent their thinking. But here's what it could have looked like. They started off with Nick and Tasha, and then immediately they had to go ahead and find that common denominator. So they found a common denominator, and they represent it just a little bit different. Here you can see that we have 5 1/4. And then if we have 5 1/4, we can also see that it's 1 and 1/4 of a chocolate bar. Now, not all students would be able to solve this problem using equations because this is the first time that many students have had an opportunity to work with adding and subtracting fractions with unlike denominators. So let's take a look and see at how these 4th grade students in this video would solve this problem through the use of various manipulatives.
Okay, so tell me what you did here.
Well, I had the whole, and then I put 6/8 under 6/8, and then I made a hole because I took away these 2 of them, and then I knew I had 1 hole, and then I had 2/8.
2/8 left over? Mm-hmm. So you took the half and then you added half to, how many eighths did you add here to your half to make a hole?
4.
You added 4/8 to a half and that made a hole? And then how many were you left with?
2.
All right, tell me what you did.
Well, I knew that 2 of these were 1 whole,
Okay.
And then half would be one of these.
Okay.
So I put a half right there. And then I had 6/8. These represent the 6/8.
Okay.
So I knew that two, well, I knew that another one of these, two of these, would equal a half.
Okay.
So I did half plus half equals a whole. And I knew that this was 1/4. So I did a whole plus 1/4 equals 1/4 and 1/4.
So you guys both have different answers though. Like I see that Maddie has 1 and 2/8, and you have 1 and 1/4. Are they the same or are they different?
They're the same.
They're the same answer, but they look different.
They are the same answer, but they look different. And what do you know about 2/8 and 1/4?
I know that 2/8 is the same as 1/4.
And what's that word that we can use that it means the same?
Equivalent.
Equivalent. Nice. Okay.
As we begin to wrap up this standard, it's important to remember to always provide students an opportunity to purposefully practice the skills that they're working on. As students are estimating mentally to assess the reasonableness of their answer, there's a great task from the Rational Number Project. Here, students are given 6 number cards, and they're asked to create 2 fractions. And the objective of this task is to try and get as close to 1 as possible. Let's take a look. Here we can see that we have 3/4 and 5/6, and a student might reason through this by using their understanding of a benchmark fraction by saying, I know that 3/4 is greater than a half, and 5/6 is definitely greater than a half, so I'm probably close to 1 and 1/2. Well, that's not close to 1. Let's try again. So maybe we try these 4 cards. And as a student is estimating here, they might say that, well, I know that 3/7 is just a little bit shy. It's close to a half. 6/11, well, that's a little bit more than a half. So if I have one that's a little less than a half, one that's a little more than a half, well, that's going to be pretty close to a whole. And here we can see that 3/7 and 6/11, yeah, that is really close to a whole. All this understanding we're trying to build in this standard right here is that it's built conceptually. Let's make sure we take our time and we don't build this understanding through rules or procedures.